that's why it's really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. Welcome back to another book club here on the Degen Roundtable. We are on episode 84. Tonight we're covering the book Worriers and Worriers. This one was a recommendation that I got by listening to Rudyard Lynch. You might know him from the What If Alt Hist YouTube channel. And I think the guy's a sharp guy, has some good recommendations out there. And I think this is a pretty good one. But beyond that, hello, everybody. I'm your host, Zenith, for the evening, and I'm joined by my excellent co-host, as always, Mr. Will Stevenson. How you doing, buddy?
Aloha, ladies and germs. I apologize for the different than normal streaming circumstance. I'm actually still at work. I'm doing inventory for Magnus Motorsports, and I've been spending all day taking this. Oh God, I can't get my camera off of the thing. I've been spending all day taking this little closet and turning it into a fantastic, awesome, and well-organized place where parts can be listed and sold and organized accurately. And so right now I'm just going through and doing some mindless tasks, but I thought I would be done way earlier and way before stream time. Turns out not to be the case, but it's okay because it's pretty mindless work. Doesn't require a lot of focus and things. So I'm ready to get into it. Dude, it was an interesting book. It was not at all what I expected. Your homie Mr. Royard Lynch. An excellent book. I did not anticipate it to be like basically like, hey, this is how like girls and boys like optimize their thinking and basically function, you know, during the not only like the development stage of childhood, but also like going through life and stuff. So quite fascinating. And like, it's not really a book about like prescriptions and like this is what you should do. This is like hey, these are like genetic things that influence everybody when they're youthful figures in life. So really fantastic read. I highly recommend that everybody read it just for like the information perspective. So, but yeah, what did you think about it?
I thought it was I definitely enjoyed the book. It was a good read. It wasn't anything too crazy out there, but yeah, it definitely approaches it from evolutionary psychology angle, talking about like reproductive pressures over the years and like who got selected to procreate and stuff like that. So yeah, that part, nothing too crazy out there. Honestly, if you kind of like have dug into it a little bit, you really understand like what makes men and women tick. That really is nothing new. But
it's written by a woman, by the way, for the folks at home who like are not like, I was like, this is just some fucking sexist bullshit. This is written by a woman, so like,
no, and I'd argue they do a very fair job of giving the pros and cons of each side.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that is one of the very kind of like refreshing ways of approaching it, especially considering today's modern discourse is very much battle of the sexes, and this is trying to be like, all right, let's figure this out. I'm not trying to make you get along. We're actually getting to the bottom of this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's quite a pleasant read. A good suggestion, good sir.
Thank you. But yeah, the last third of the book really is where a lot of the interesting stuff is, in my personal opinion, and that's largely because that's where she gets into kind of the analysis of what's going on with the modern situation and stuff, and then also getting into some possible prescriptions. Doesn't outright get into like anything like super specific, but definitely gives a framework or structure of something that could possibly work in the future. That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, tell you what, before we get into the book, it is about time we do something else. Good sir, do you have the thing?
Fuck, I don't have it. It's in the camper, but that's like a 30-second to a minute and a half walk away. Ladies and germs, actually, hang on. I got this. Check this shit out, bro. On my fucking phone case, it's time for the chat motherfucking shout-outs, ladies and germs. I forgot that I had that. There we go. Does that work?
Very nice,
That
sir.
works pretty
It
good,
does
right?
work.
All right.
Alrighty, let's see who we got in the audience with us here this evening. Number one, DGen of the evening, Funkmaster Hex. Ladies and gentlemen, good
Oh,
evening
shit.
with the whiskey glass. Cheers to you, sir. I got me a silver bullet.
I've got an espresso, so fucking cheers to you, Funkmaster Hex.
Very nice, very nice.
Mm.
By the way, he's reminded everyone to do the YouTube pleasantries. Really appreciate it if you guys do that for us. Don't really care either way, but it does help us. So if you like us and you want us to get more folks out here so we can keep building this sweet, sweet chat of you guys, we'd appreciate it if you do the, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And by the way, if you want even more, you can scan the QR code above Will to get into our Telegram. There's where you can find all of our links, the ongoing conversation, good memes, good chats, and a lot of cool crypto information, because that's largely what we do here.
Ooh. I'm sorry. I found a part that's not supposed to be where it is. So nobody cares about this at all. But like, you have a part that's listed as a very specific number, and then the part itself has a different number on it. And it's like, this is literally what I was hunting for all day. So I fucking got it. But yeah, continue with the chat shoutouts.
Nothing too crazy, but we do have Moondog coming in here, giving us a hey, giving us the old Jolly Roger, and then up and to the right, because we hope everything's going up and to the right. You know what's not going up and to the right today, actually? Gold
Crypto?
and silver.
Oh,
Did you hear about that?
no. Bro, I fucking live in a cave, man. What's going on?
So gold peaked at about $5,600.
56?
Yeah, 56.
Jesus. It only just broke 5,000 like what, on Sunday?
Pretty much. Yeah.
God damn. Wow.
Correct.
Wow, whoa, wee, whoa.
Wow, we will indeed.
As the
But
French
the big
would
news
say.
stories of the day is that it actually corrected about 15% and dropped all the way down to 4,700.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of change going on in the marketplace. People trying to figure out what the heck's going on with that. But
that blows.
Heads up, that's probably going to be one of the news stories that we're going to cover on Sunday. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. I'll keep this in mind.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
So nothing too crazy, but interesting movement over there. We got another guy sneaking in here, though. Mr. Hexglen, DGen Worriers. That's right. Good to see you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Warriors. Come
True.
out and play.
And we got even more people sneaking in here. We got Wrecked on Crypto. He says, hello, gentlemen, and all of my fellow degenerates. Good to see you, sir. Apologies.
Welcome.
Probably not much crypto tonight, but people are still a little bit wrecked on crypto. I'm curious. What are we looking at? Bitcoin did get all the way down to 80K. Looks like it might be the possible end of a 60-day cycle on day 70 there. So
Whoa.
am I surprised by the price action?
You said 80,000?
80,000. Yes, sir. It was a wick. Currently, we're sitting at about 84.
Weren't we just at like 95 or some shit? Man, I really need to pay more attention to the price action. That is nuts. 84. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Well, never mind. Goes to show how much I pay attention to the cryptosphere.
Hey, all good. Price goes down, price goes up. We're going to be covering that one and a lot of the other macro stuff going on, which, by the way, another news story. I do believe the Clarity Act did get past the Senate Banking Committee. So we'll happen to see where that goes, whether it goes to the Senate floor for a vote and then the president for a signature, or if we have that whole government shutdown thing happen. So
Government shutdown? Over a bill?
Nope. Government shutdown over funding. Because if you remember, we had the classic holdout for government funding back in November or October and November, and they passed a continuing resolution. So it's not fully funded yet. So they got to hash that out. Oh my
fucking God, dude.
Classic. Very classic indeed.
What a clown world of a political system we live in.
It's
Jinkies.
Very good at what it does, which is lockup.
Which is
part of my design. But.
Yes. You know, I will say, I much appreciate a government that doesn't do a damn thing. So the more that they can be gridlocked, the happier that I am. So
that's true. Alrighty, next one. Miss Tam Tam coming in here saying hello, my lovelies. Hello to you as well. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for joining us on an excellent Friday evening. And by the way, Tam's a bit of a celebrity out there. Who doesn't love Tam? By the way, if you're curious about how she does on the internets, she is one of the biggest outreaching folks in the entire crypto space, not just the Hexkins. Verifiable by the numbers. She is a massive force for good, and we are so happy that she is on board with us. We also like hanging out with her. She's super cool.
Fucking ain't right.
True. Alrighty. That does it for chat shoutouts. So, sir, let's get into it tonight. Here's your quick summary of the book. Worriers and Worriers argues that many persistent psychological and behavioral differences between men and women are best understood as evolved survival strategies rather than purely cultural constructions. Drawing on evolutionary psychology, anthropology, and developmental research, Joyce Benison contends that males historically benefited from risk-taking, status competition, and coalition aggression, aka warriors, while females benefited from vigilance, social sensitivity, and risk avoidance, warriors. In the book's later chapters, she emphasizes
warriors. Sorry, your enunciation, Zenith, doesn't quite do the title of the book justice. The book title is Warriors versus Worriers. So it's some people do war and some people worry about things, and that's the general sex dynamic as described in the book. Sorry though, continue please.
All good. In the book's later chapters, she emphasizes that modern society often misinterprets these inherited tendencies as moral failings or pathologies, creating institutional friction by suppressing or medicalizing them instead of channeling them productively. Benison concludes that functional equality does not require psychological sameness, and that societies work best when they acknowledge evolved differences and design social, educational, and organizational systems that accommodate complementary strategies rather than just denying their existence.
Yeah, and I think that's like probably the crux of the book is like, look, you are genetically predisposed to feel and act this certain type of way. So you can like fight it and disregard it and live your whole life on like a low leverage ideology and system, or you can embrace it, work in conjunction with it. It's kind of like do you try and like swim upstream in a river, or do you like build a dam and harness the energy sort of thing?
Pretty much. But yeah, the basis of the book relies on evolutionary psychology, anthropology, aka human history, and then also just observable studies that have happened over the last however long they've been going on, which we're humans. We've been studying humans for pretty much the second we figured out that there was more than one of us. So that's the basis for it. Is this a hard science per se? I would argue no. Inherently, these things are not. But the basis of that is, I personally think, is not, it's not at a detriment to what the rest of the book kind of draws when it comes to the modern society. I think that you don't even have to go through the history of this stuff to figure out the exact issues that she's talking about when it comes to modern society and whatnot. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Will, was there any parts of kind of like the first half of the book we're going through kind of like pros and cons of how men and women do their strategies that really stood out to you?
I mean, the whole book kind of stood out, not in like a sense of like, oh wow, this is crazy, but just like, oh yeah, I could totally see that. Oh yeah, I could totally see that. Oh yeah, this is how I am. Oh yeah, this is how I've seen, like I've observed both like infant, females and like adolescent women and like adult women. You can totally put yourself in the, like, as speaking from a man's perspective, I could totally put myself in the masculine perspective that she describes in the book and totally understand how all the women think and feel and act the way that they do based on genetic predispositions and things. So like there was nothing really like crazy mind-blowing about the book because I've been in this world. I've been studying this stuff for the past like 5, 6, 7 years. But for anybody that who this is the first they would ever be hearing about it, this is crazy. What's the word like? Ontological shock, where like it totally upsets your whole worldview. Yeah, like so I thought that was fascinating about the book, and I thought that was crazy. What about you? Did you have any super awesome crazy moments?
one of the things that was interesting for me was actually going through the men's side of things about how men make friends and stuff like that, which is they.
Oh yeah, that men are more social than women.
It's social in different ways. Social in that they like having larger social groups versus the women side of things really focused on like women are very much more about the quality of relationships instead of just like building that vast network of dudes to get all the people together so you can play 11-on-11 football and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the guy side, I was kind of doing a little bit of self-reflection about like me personally and how I am in my life, because I think people that know me, like I am social. I like going to the live events and stuff. I do get worn down after a while, but at the same time, like I kind of keep a pretty tight circle of friends that I interact with a lot. But then outside of that, I'm very willing to like go out and like build stuff. Like I have all these like grand ideas of delusion about I want to start hosting like golf tournaments and stuff. And I want to get people together. It's not delusion.
They're legitimate goals.
That's true.
Don't you sell yourself short.
Yeah. And get people together for like big poker nights and stuff like that. So I'm always trying to like scale things up. But when it comes to like really who I talk to on a daily basis, I got my close friends. Of course, I got this guy over here that I talk to on a twice a week, possibly even 3 times a week basis.
Yeah.
So
I think it's good.
Yeah. So pretty much what the books was talking about was that they studied young children a lot, partly because they're very willing to show kind of like the social order and how they do things. But also, I think this is a bit of a side tangent, but I think the book is trying to wrestle with the idea of nature versus nurture. Which is like, are these learned habits or are these ingrained in us? I would argue the book leans definitely more towards the nature side of things as opposed to the nurture side of things, because it's based in evolutionary psychology. Therefore, it's inherited things that are passed down. Culture can be passed down, but the time frame for anthropology is so much longer than the lasting of any one dominant culture. Because cultures go through cycles, obviously. But when it comes to the studies about forming social groups, they were like, all right, we left the children unattended and just watched what happened. It turns out that the boys started wrestling and grabbing more people to go wrestle as soon as we left. And the girls would like do disparate activities and then ultimately go back to talking, and then some disparate activities and then go back to talking. And then the boys were just like, how do we increase the scale of our play war effectively? How do we get everybody in here and have massive force on force?
Yeah. How do we do more destruction and chaos? And it was really cool because it wasn't about like destruction for the sake of destruction. It was destruction for the sake of seeing how you can test the people that are around you, so you can determine like a dominance hierarchy, so you know who to rely on when it comes time for doing like the actual warlike activities. So it's like they do the play war so that way they can be ready for the real war, whatever that might be.
That's true. One other thing I got out of that was it's not only establishing like leadership hierarchies for your mock war, but it's also specialization, which is that people learn very quickly what they're good at, what they're not good at, what other people are good at and not good at. And then inside of that, there's also kind of like these avenues for people like find niches instead of just trying to be the best at everything. It's like go really hard into this one area because there's an open lane for it, and then you will be rewarded for getting good at whatever that one thing is.
Yeah.
So that was one part of the first half of the book that I really liked. I will say the other part of the first half of the book, talking about the ladies, I was like, this is kind of brutal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. She really rips into her sisters, man. Like, not like rips into them, but it's just like and you know, perhaps because the author is a woman and she can relate to the woman side of the story more, and it would be natural for me to focus more on men, just like it would be natural for me to focus more on like the American fighter in a boxing match versus like a Chinese fighter. You know, it's like I can relate to this. This is me. This is an extension of my ideology and stuff. But like, yeah, the author really focused real hard on the way that young girls are and the way that women are. And
I would say it wasn't a focus as like to critique it. It was a focus to explain it, because one of the fundamental differences between the male and female version of doing things is that the men are very overt about everything. Like up and outright say and pound on their chest, and they're like, "I am gonna be the king of the hill," and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "I know what he wants."
Yep.
Versus the ladies, like even the
Overt and covert.
the first level of interaction for them is kind of like the covert game that they kind of don't want to play, but they all
Yeah.
play it regardless. And how
Yep.
there's kind of like a degree of subterfuge or like pretending that you're not competing. It seems like this beautiful paradox of you want to like have deep bonds with people, but at the same time, those deep bonds are very easily kind of put into,
Manipulated.
I wouldn't say manipulated, but they're maybe not put in danger, or they're tested very easily about like out competing, competition for resources, and that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to give the quick synopsis of it, I think she says there's really 3 levels to it. The first is trying to mask the competition. The second level is trying to exclude competitors, and then the third
Yep.
level, as only like an absolute last resort, is outright aggression.
Yep.
Explains why you don't really see that stuff from women. And when you do,
Yeah.
you know things like really got to the boiling point.
Yeah, and like the outright aggression from men isn't like outright aggression for the kill or like for the totality, but like when women engage in outright aggression, it's like, oh, this is the final fucking straw. This is like the last card that I can play on the table. It's kind of like a oh man, help me out here. I'm running out of words. Fuck.
Say it again.
It's like when women get aggressive, when women get assertive, when women commit like direct lines of attack, then it's like this is the final card on the table. This isn't like
It's like
this is like, what's that?
it's like
the nuclear option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking perfect explanation there. But it's like with men, it's like, oh yeah, aggression is the first fucking step in the way, and then you become aggressive, you deal the damage, and then everyone licks their wounds, and then it's like, oh, okay, because you won, you're at the top of the list of like decision making, and so I just like fall under you, and now we're all gonna go get the actual bad guy now that we've determined who's the actual problem. But it's like, you know, when men are aggressive with other men, for the most part, it's like we're playing the little like, how where do you fall inside of my team kind of game, as opposed to like, oh, I'm trying to kill you because you're competition sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Total different scenario between
True.
men and between women.
By the way, we got some more folks jumping in here. We got
Oh, nice.
the Prairie Banana. Good day.
Ooh,
Good to see you.
well,
sir.
well. Aloha, Prairie Banana. Good to see you, amigo. It's been a while since I've seen the chats. Welcome.
Yes, sir. And we also got Arceus jumping in here.
Oh, nice.
Pretty good comment here from Arceus. Says,
Yeah.
I get that the author was going for a catchy, similar sounding words thing, but it would have been great to have less discouraging words for women. Being a warrior sounds kind of cool. Being a warrior, I'm going to screw that up so many times tonight.
Yeah.
It sounds like it kind of blows. Look, I hear you. I get it. I think that our society and kind of history idolizes people going to battle, and the people that worry about stuff is less catchy. I mean,
Yeah.
I might even also call it like warriors in the watchtowers, because I think that the women are there to kind of like sound alarms on things when it goes poorly, which
That's a good way to word
there's
it.
a very good necessary function for it.
Mhm.
But at the same time, yes, I would argue that the warrior label definitely sounds a little more epic, like going in to die in a epic last stand battle for God and country. So
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with like genetic predisposition. So it's like the like sperm versus the egg, the mass quantity of valueless things versus like the one specific magical thing. You know, like if you have one very valuable thing, then you protect it and you take care of it, and you treasure it, versus like if you've got a whole bunch of, you know, useless shit, but like any one of them will work, then that's where those things have to go out and they have to prove themselves. They have to compete with each other, that they have to do the battle. They have to physically like get the scars and do like the craziness in order to generate the value, to generate the worth, because like all on their own individually they're worthless sort of thing. So it's like the warriors versus the those who do war versus those who worry about stuff. Perhaps worrying isn't good framing, but it is good wordplay when it comes to like making a nice, easy little clickbait title or something like that. So right there with you, Arceus, right there with you.
Look, the title and the cover sold books. Maybe didn't people feel great, but I don't think the book is supposed to make you feel good. It's supposed to make you think about things. So
well, and it worked, because here we are talking about it, and here you are commenting about it. So like, there's the proof in the pudding for the marketing scheme.
True. Alrighty, I think this one might be kind of a no duh kind of chapter. But chapter 5 was called Friendship, Trust, and Conflict, and what it really did was talk about like how guys and girls manage relationships. And the no duh here is like guys have often activity-based relationships, and then women have emotionally based relationships. It's kind of a no duh moment. It's like, yeah, the guys get together and cheer for the same sports team. The girls talk about their feelings and stuff and relate to each other on that level. It makes sense. I will say this one was actually kind of a bit of a light bulb moment for me, because it was a question I've been asking in my personal life lately. I've been having a lot of interactions with people, and then I find myself having very pleasant and very kind of like boring or like uninteresting conversations. And I really broke it down to the ones that I find boring or uninteresting are when people have conversations and it feels like the entire conversation is just people swapping stories about bad things that happen to them. And I just, I'm serious. Like, it's like people like are complaining. He's like, oh my gosh, did you hear what happened to so-and-so? Or I got such horrible customer service, or my flight was so bad, all these things.
I get the most victim points. I can whine the most.
Yeah, so the light bulb moment here for me was, why am I like annoyed by these things versus why would I much rather just enjoy talking nonsense about like hockey to other people? It's like, okay, there's actually probably some sort of predisposition here, just based on the fact that I'm a dude. And it's like, all right, understood. Take it for what it is. Understand that other people are going to have the conversations that they think are interesting. Doesn't mean they're going to be interesting to me.
There's nothing wrong with predisposition. It's like, you know, if I happen to prefer left-handed people to right-handed people, then it's like it is what it is. Like being predisposed to have a preference for one thing or another thing, it's like that's perfectly fine. Like, generally speaking, men are predisposed to speak more about actions and items and, you know, like tangibles and processes, and women are more inclined, generally speaking, you know, if we put everything in a bell curve, to talk about like the relationships between people. And when and another thing that they talked about in the book is like when women share their vulnerabilities and the things that are problematic, and they share these like these basically vulnerable secrets, they build the relationship with the other woman or the other women that are around, because it's like, hey, I'm giving you leverage over me right now. And then so the other women, they give leverage in return. And so it's kind of like this big giant trust building process where it's like, oh, I'm showing you my vulnerable side, you're showing me your vulnerable side. Where for men, it's more of like, I'm going to show you my strong side, I'm going to show you the stuff that I'm good at, I'm going to show you the stuff that I care about, the stuff that I work for. And it's like it's just a totally different dynamic. It's neither is good nor bad. It's just this is the thing that each of the two genders is predisposed to be more preferential towards. This is why, like, when men get all emotional, nobody really respects them. And like in the book, what they were talking about is like they were making fun of the kids to be like, oh, you're a fucking gay person, or oh, like it doesn't matter which of the genders you like. If you're a man and you're acting feminine, then you're not a man that can be depended on in a time of war, or like in a time of like serious game, or like something. If you don't have your emotions under control, then you're not a masculine being that is worthy of my respect or something. And that was the commonality they were talking about in the books.
Yeah, the relationship building over vulnerabilities. It's definitely. I mean, we're two dudes talking over here, so it's not something that we do. I kind of like knew that already about women, but hearing it like laid out in specific detail, it's
we're not here
have it clarified.
We're not here talking about our feelings though. Like if we were here talking about like, oh, I had such a horrible day, Zenith, and oh, I wish that you just knew how tough things are for me. You know, if we were doing shit like that, then like we would probably have, you know, zero audience space, because no one would be interested in listening to us bitch and whine and complain and things, right? So it's a totally different preference and a totally different judgment set that's applied to people that are conducting things. And again, not to say that it's bad or that it's good. It just is. It just exists. But
For sure.
So I shouldn't have cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, I mean, you hit that square on the head for kind of what is one of the prefaces for this book to go into it. It's like, understand that this book is largely descriptive. It only gets prescriptive in the very last chapter, and it doesn't even get that specific about it. But honestly, what it is just trying to give people the knowledge base on how to do things. So is there a good, I would argue there's probably a little more time spent on the women on this book, but I would argue the reason being is that the fairer sex out there is also the harder to understand sex. So it makes sense.
Well, yeah, because everything is subliminal rather than superliminal, or like it is like when dealing with women, most things have to be indirect as opposed to direct. It makes sense to focus more on the thing that's not clear versus the thing that's like, yeah, super obvious. You could fucking just read it like a book, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Alrighty, tell you what, I got a couple of questions here that I wanted to get into with you.
Yeah, let's fucking hit it.
So, going towards actually, no, not questions. We got the big two chapters, if you will. So, 8 and 9. 9 is evolutionary mismatch in the modern world. Pretty much it's saying we have developed all these habits and tendencies and ways of doing things through years of reproductive pressure. We now live in a state where there is basically none of that, but we still have all of our new problems getting along here.
Yeah.
So the mismatch pretty much gets into this, which is that the male mismatch is that you have aggression without an outlet for it, aka war, hunting, conflict, defense, that kind of thing. Largely,
that's problematic.
Unless you're the tip of the spear, actually doing the war fighting out there, odds are you don't
really
have an outlet to do that kind of stuff.
Or sports, or like hanging with the boys, or going dirt biking or skateboarding, or like, you know, at last resort, you know, playing video games. But like if you've got nothing, you know, then that becomes real problematic. As far as like a pressure cooker that has no release valve sort of thing.
That's true. Yeah, I can't remember if it was explicitly covered in this book or if it was just kind of like more studies. I think it's actually Jordan Peterson's stuff too, which is like the idea. One of the other ways that male aggression kind of gets out of hand is if you never really learn the boundaries of it through play.
Yeah.
So,
yes, that is Jordan Peterson. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's not this book, but I think it's also an interesting thing that does factor into some of the conclusions that he draws from this, which is that the male aggression, it's either not having an outlet or it's going towards areas it's not supposed to go to, which is like going too far, going against people that are not willing to engage in this kind of competition, that kind of stuff. So that you, instead of having healthy competition where you butt heads and get better result, you're kind of just, I guess the gamer term would be pub stomping or hurting innocents that are not trying to get involved in this kind of stuff.
Fucking seal clubbing.
Yeah, seal clubbing.
We're going to go seal clubbing.
Yeah. So the author does also say the modern context of this is that physical violence is suppressed, which is correct, but the status competitions remain. So we have changed from going to fight wars to just competing amongst ourselves in the avenues that we have, whether it's finance,
sports,
business, statuses, looks maxing, if you're one of those, bodybuilding, great example of this, that kind of stuff. The competition, competitive instincts reappear as hyper-competitive corporate cultures, political factionism, online dominance signaling, and risk-heavy financial behavior. Does that one sound familiar?
Risk-heavy financial behavior. I've never heard of anything having to do with this before.
AKA gambling.
Cryptocurrency. Oh God.
There you go. The crypto bros caught some strays in this book too. Don't you worry. We're still out here taking flight.
Yeah.
All right. The author argues that society often condemns this male aggression without providing structured substitutes for it, and that it fails to distinguish between destructive violence and status-seeking energy. So, example of this would kind of be the idea of toxic masculinity and whatever that label just gets slapped onto when guys are trying to be the best and compete over whatever they're trying to compete for. Money, women, status, whatever. So
I think
there you go.
Go ahead.
The final result for this one, the author concludes, is that there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of disengagement, and there's misdirected aggression. So you have dudes just getting frustrated with the system, frustrated with their life circumstances, disengagements. You're just giving up, pulling away, dropping everything, and being like, you know what, screw it, nothing matters.
Yep.
And then lastly, misdirected aggression, which is gonna land you in jail probably.
Yeah.
You know, are we missing anything on that one? Because that's pretty much what the author identifies.
I had a thought, and it reminds me. It wasn't even my thought; it was one of Rolo's thoughts, and I totally can't remember it anymore. Toxic masculinity, like the same guy that goes out and does heinous thing is acting on the same sort of impulse as the firefighter that's like pulling the children out of the burning building. Like that toxic masculinity is the same. There's the same impulse in both of those two people, right?
Same driver,
that is the
different outcome.
It is the same, same driver, different outcome. So like labeling the or rather incorrectly labeling the thing as masculinity as opposed to just like being a shitty person, you know, like, oh, toxic masculinity. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's bad people and there's good people. There's bad people that are black. There's bad people that are white. There's bad people that are men. There's bad people that are women. There's bad people that are adults. There's bad people that are children, right? You don't hear anything about like toxic childhood-idity. And you don't hear like toxic adulthood-idity or like, you know, toxic left-handedism or whatever, right? It's just like you can apply the qualifier word to anything that follows, and like you're just describing a shitty person. It has very little to do with the fact that they're masculine or that they're feminine. It's just a shitty person, something along those lines. That's the thought that I had on that, anyways.
True. By the way, we got another homie hopping in here. It's Dace. He says, ahoy.
Ahoy. Good
He's
sir.
also saying working on yourself is good too when it comes to finding an outlet for that masculine urge to go fight the wars and whatnot. Agreed, sir.
Yeah.
Hitting the gym, pumping the iron. It's one way to get it out. And
yeah, because you know what?
Go for it.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, you know what happens when you don't work on yourself is you work on something else. So if you take this bottled energy, you can either use it for good or you can use it for not good. You know, so taking that and redirecting it into a positive flow is the art that that like good people figure out and master, and that lazy people don't.
True. And then Dace also coming in here saying that he and Will have done this in Sea of Thieves, really channeled that masculine energy to go plunder your enemies.
Fucking A right, dude. Oh my God, me and Dace have had so much fun in Sea of Thieves. You're making me want to go hop on the high seas right now, brother. This is.
There you go.
I wish I didn't have all these fucking stacks of fuel rods. Wow, I'm literally I'm sorting fuel rods here. Shout out to Halo.
Hey, there you go.
Sorting through fuel rods.
Alrighty. Other half in this chapter, the female mismatch. Title for this one is Vigilance in a Low Mortality World.
Yeah.
So, author's words here. Female hypervigilance was adapted due to child mortality, social instability, and physical vulnerability. And anxiety as pretty much functioned as your preventative system for survival in this way. So, thinking back to the old days here. All right, child mortality. Modern medicine doesn't exist. Don't even know that much about medicine to begin with.
It's like, what, 1 in 10 children died before 1, and then like 1 out of 2 children died before age of 10.
I think that sounds about right. Yeah. So,
this is what our genetics are coded for. Like women getting anxious. This is what it's for. Go ahead, Z. Sorry.
Survival, exactly. Yep. Social instability. Lest ye be called a witch and burned at the stake. Got to figure out how to avoid those accusations. Agreed. Also, getting exiled from the tribe when the saber-toothed tiger's out there looking for a meal. Mm-hmm. Also, good way not to survive.
Yep.
And then lastly, physical vulnerability. Yet again, right back to the saber-toothed tiger or conflict between your state and the faction state, and that the King of England over there said that he's going to go jack up the French for God and country, and you happen to be a Frenchman or a French woman in this case. Not great odds for you.
Not great.
Yeah. But the answer to this one, the author is positing, is that anxiety. What anxiety does is it keeps you heightened, keeps you alerted, keeps you on watch, vigilant, constantly vigilant, trying to watch out when the English are coming across the channel, trying to watch out when that saber-toothed tiger is getting a little too close, and then also trying to watch out and figure out how do I not keep my kids from getting kicked in the head by a donkey, that kind of stuff.
Can I interject?
Do it.
This is genetics response. This isn't the correct and modern, like, most effective response. This is like the thing that made our ancestors over the last 700,000 years or 800, however long humans have been around, right? This is the thing that made them successful, not necessarily the thing that will make you successful, but it is the genetic imprint that you still carry with you today, is the leftovers of the stuff that they had to deal with to, like, avoid the tigers, avoid the plague, avoid all that crap. So it is the remnants of an old world that is stuck inside of your. It's the non-updated software on your Windows XP computer where you're trying to run a Windows 10 program, and it's just like it's not following.
Exactly. Alrighty. So the author's modern context here.
Yeah.
The objective physical risk is dramatically lower. We live in a lot more stable societies. We have modern medicine, a lot of advancements in that field. Child mortality, definitely down. The ability to fix injuries and prevent injuries, massively up. And then the other half of this is that despite all of that, the core hardware inside of the people has not changed. Because we are a product of the ancestors. And if the case, you still have all those alert systems, aka the anxiety systems, they're still fully active and working. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means that you're not malfunctioning. You're actually functioning exactly as intended. Not intended by your front brain, but by your back brain. Pretty much saying that because all this stuff is not there, but it's still, the internal systems are still working, it means that you're going to start seeing things, even if they're not as bad as you think, or even if they might not even be there. It's the idea that you were built to identify and spot issues in a world where a lot of these issues have been resolved. So it can kind of turn into a little bit of nitpicking, a little bit of trying to chase the ghost and claim that there's things out there trying to get you, that kind of stuff. As a result of this, one of the things she pointed out is that the women in the modern age have been heavily medicalized, or I guess not drugged is the word I'm looking for, but a lot of this anxiety has been deemed
supplemented.
Supplemented. The anxiety has been deemed to be a medical issue, even though biologically at the hardware level, it appears you're working as intended. So it can kind of drive you crazy. You get put on the old SSRIs, you get put on the ADHD medicines, all that kind of stuff. She argues that medicine and psychology tends to pathologize the worry without contextualizing all that evolutionary baggage that got you to the point that you are today. And it treats anxiety as an error rather than just your alarm system is going off unnecessarily. It's like the common saying is that women are a lot more neurotic than men. Meaning by that is that your brain is just a lot more active and thinking about a lot more different stuff. And odds are a lot of it's connected together. Meanwhile, the guys can kind of just focus on the task at hand and go in the nothing box sometimes. So different sides of the coin, got different challenges for each of the sexes here. Again,
I like that reference to the nothing box. That's
nothing box good.
Some classic internet.
True. All right. What does the author identify as other things going on in the modern context? Institutional amplification. Says that our modern institutions magnify these effects even more. So, media ecosystems, social media, the news, whatever it is, they amplify fear. The reason being, fear drives clicks. They're there to make money. They make money when you click. Therefore, odds are they're going to be serving you fear on a plate and hoping that you keep clicking. Number two. Oh, go for it real quick.
Well, I was just going to say, like, literally because the system is built to identify fear points, and like that's the thing that like will cause the most dramatic response. That's going to be the thing that like the outside sources that are all looking for money, they're going to like attack the thing that works the best. It's not like they're not going to be like, oh, this is your third favorite thing. Okay, we're going after that. It's like, no, we're going after the first favorite thing, the thing that makes you, like, whether you want to or not, it will make you feel, it will make you anxious, it will make you click, it will make you buy, their because capitalism is the thing that chases money, chases value, the value system exists behind the fact that you will take action based on fear. You will take action based on fear of missing out, or fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Like, for those of you guys that have been in the crypto sphere for any period of time, you will have heard of FOMO, and you will have heard of FUD, both of which start with fear. The primary driver for all the emotional decisions that people make in the marketplace is fear. You're fearful that you're going to lose on a fantastic, awesome opportunity, or you are fearful that you're going to be like driven straight into the ground, into nothingness. So it's like it's all this is the thing that drives the most reaction. So of course they're going to go after it. That's all that I had on that, Z.
Hey, makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say, one of the things that I like about this book, and that I think the book makes sense, is that even in all of these like analysis, the assumption is that we have rational actors operating in their own best interest at a high level, making good decisions along the way based on their situation, their circumstances, and what their goals are. So
yes,
in this case, it's no different. It's saying, like, look, these structures are here to make money. How do they make money? Your attention. How do they capture attention? Giving you what you're kind of like biologically programmed to click on, that kind of stuff.
There's no malice here anywhere. It's literally just everyone trying to be maximally beneficial.
Correct. There you go. The incentives are aligned, rational actors playing at the high level. That's where a lot of this analysis really comes from in the book. Alrighty, media ecosystems, talk about that one. Two more. Bureaucratic systems encourage risk avoidance, and litigation and reputational threats heighten social vigilance. Okay, so bureaucratic systems. Ever since the invention of word processing, would you be surprised that the amount of laws and regulations has exploded by an amount of almost 100-fold?
That's crazy, and I cannot believe that this has happened. When you give more people access to the dictionary and the ability to make words and write things down, then more people are going to be making rules. More people are going to be writing down things that they want, kept
If
forever.
it's easier to write the words, odds are you're going to get more words. And I think this tracks 100%, because look, AI came out. It's never been easier to do content creation, whether it's fully AI generated, AI assisted, AI tools. And since then, we have seen an absolute explosion of content being put out on the internet. Same thing follows. The thing we're talking about here, though, is bureaucratic control. We've seen a lot more bureaucracy, a lot more agencies. This one doesn't really get into the political aspects of it, but I think that there has definitely been a drive. It's kind of human nature to try to keep building and expanding things if they believe there's a way to do it. This is where you get into the dueling political ideologies of big government, small government, that kind of stuff. Over the last 100 years, I'd argue that the big government narrative has definitely won out and been driving that direction for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So as a result of that, we now live in a society where there is more bureaucratic opportunity or bureaucratic structures than ever, whether it's government, whether it's corporate, whether it's even inside your own social networks, talking like HOAs, that kind of stuff. It's never been easier to make those kinds of things. They've never been larger. Therefore, this is why we have the most of it. Okay, what do the bureaucracies do? Well, they kind of mitigate risk. How do they do that? They mitigate responsibility and the ability to change things, meaning that you want to propose a rule that allows you to make your grass a little bit longer in the HOA. Okay, you now have to rally all the neighbors, petition the HOA, go before the HOA board, have a hearing, get a motion by the HOA, and then have it followed through and possibly even go through legal review. That's a lot more layers of bureaucracy than if you didn't live in an HOA and you just grow your grass however you wanted. That kind of stuff. Okay, now that you've wanted to grow your grass more, but there's all these layers to follow, how many individual points of failure can happen along that way? All right, well, now you have to rely on your neighbors. So your neighbors can just kind of throw their hands up and be like, I don't want to do anything, don't want to rock the boat. Okay, there's one. You got to file the petition. Okay, means you got to follow someone else's rules on how to file paperwork. You got to have a hearing. Okay, now you have all the individual people on the hearing that have the ability to yay or nay this potential proposal. And outside of that, there's even potential legal ramifications or just the threat of legal ramifications as well. All this kind of stuff, you can apply it to the company you work for, if it's a big one, even the government at any given level. Oh my gosh, so many different people you have to go through to get what you need. All that kind of stuff. The idea is risk avoidance. So there you go. And lastly, litigation and reputational threats heighten social vigilance. Will, What's that thing that happens when you say the naughty words on Twitter and then the mob comes for you?
Oh, the fucking cancel culture?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So, as a result of cancel culture and knowing that cancel cultures exist, would you argue the average person is more or less willing to put themselves out there in public spaces and really speak their mind?
Oh, bro, no, definitely. Like with cancel culture being such a prevalent part of the world today, like people are way more cautious about the shit that they say, because because there's real world consequences.
Yep.
And I don't mean to say like real world consequences, but there are real and not necessarily correctly calibrated consequences. So like the potential aftermath of your words could be directly correlated to the value of the words that you say, or it could be like above and beyond and like crazy outlandish. Like you could say something that you would consider totally normally asinine, and all of a sudden you've lost your job, you've lost your way of life, you've lost every fucking thing. So because that's a possibility, people, like, maybe not all people, maybe just fucking bitches and pussies will like they will mince their words. The center of the bell curve, not the degens down here on the bottom far left side, you know.
I'm sure some folks in our audience are bottom right, but
there's probably some bottom right people. But you know, us degens here, we like to think that we're on the more ne'er-do-well side of the bell curve distribution system. But like, you know, people that care more about their reputation, people that don't necessarily understand how the internet works today. What the fuck is this? Oh, never mind. Sorry, I'm reading the part number. People that don't understand how the internet works today, how the internet worked in the past, or like versus how the internet worked in the past. And it's constantly changing. You know, like cancel culture is not even going to be relevant in the near future. You know, this is a problem of the now, and maybe more of a problem of the past 5 years than it is even right now, and even of the next several. Because it's like, imagine the amount of effort that you have to spend nowadays to get people to give a shit about anything, versus the amount of like the relatively small amount of effort that people had to get in order to get people canceled. It's like, oh shit, this will go viral, because there was nothing that went viral. But nowadays, fucking everything goes viral. Everything goes crazy. So the bar of going viral is way higher. So like the ability to actually cancel someone just got way more attention expensive. You know what I mean? So like it's a constantly changing sort of thing, but people still live, like people's minds are still trapped in the cancel culture world of, like, you know, 3 to 5 years ago, where it's like, oh, if there's a rape accusation, or if there's like some sort of like crazy words that people have put out there, or some sort of videos or whatever the hell, then like your entire livelihood could be lost and gone forever. When in reality, it's like, oh no, because attention is so expensive nowadays, it's like it's not really that much of a problem anymore, unless you're willing to pay the attention cost to get the information out there to get someone canceled in the first place. So it's like it's kind of like, you know, beginning of the UFC, when like everyone was trying everything, and it was the crazy Wild West, and it was some cool awesome shit going on. Like that's kind of how I see, you know, the beginning of the internet and the beginning of cancel culture. It's just it's a different world nowadays.
Gotcha. Alrighty, so
my 2 cents.
The author pretty much says that the institutional amplification here ends up with two things. You have women that are even more anxiety driven, because there's even more things to potentially look at as those possible triggers for the existing system they have. And then from the men's side, you see withdrawal, because everything is discouraging masculine effort, and there's a lot more negative externalities that come with it, as well as just as a result of the systems that have been built. Yeah. Okay. That's pretty much that. So here's what the author proposes as possible solutions. Designing societies to be complementary. Okay, let's see what that means. Equality without sameness. They explicitly reject the idea that equality requires psychological uniformity. The position is that legal and moral equality can coexist with average behavioral differences. So she talks about this a little bit previously as a categorical error, saying that one of the categorical errors was saying that things that evolved from you evolutionarily have been categorized as moral failures, instead of just like the way that things are. It's not that this is reality. It's that you are bad inside of reality because of the way you are, that kind of stuff. And then additionally, denying differences leads to institutional inefficiency and resentment. Okay, this kind of goes towards the idea of that they just want you to be the worker drone that fits in the same box no matter what you look like, what gender you are, who you are, where you've been, what you can do, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
When this happens, it means that you're not doing kind of the stuff that some of the guys did when we were talking about in the beginning, which is that if you see a way or a niche that you can specialize in, it's going to prevent that. Meaning it's causing uniformity, and with uniformity comes resentment, because not everyone's the same, even amongst their own gender, and as a result of that, causes a lot of disillusionment, discomfort, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
the quote here is that she argues that many modern policies fail because they assume, quote, if outcomes differ, discrimination must be the cause. Actually arguing the opposite of that, saying that different strategies naturally produce different distributions even under equal opportunity. So
Yeah.
it's saying like you can try to level as much as you want, but the fact that we're different is going to cause different outcomes because people are going to pursue things in different ways. It's not a failure. In fact, it's actually kind of like the way it's supposed to work. All right.
This is where you start getting into dangerous cancel culture territory.
I know.
Oh man, people are different.
Trying to be
Crazy.
decent. If you give it a moment of thought, you'll realize it as well.
All right. I love it. I think this is what the folks at home need, whether they know it or not. You guys fucking need it. Go read this book. Not because I think it'll be interesting to you, but because I know that you fucking need it.
All right.
Yep.
Number 2, prescriptions from the author here. Shout out to Arceus on this one. The author is actually right in line with you. Reframing the differences. Proposes a conceptual shift. So going from having a bias to a strategy and going from having a deficit to a trade-off. It's not saying that you're lacking in certain things. It's the old Thomas Sowell here. Everything in life is trade-offs. There's nothing that's only upside. There's always trade-offs. And then additionally, going from bias to strategy. Example of this are pretty much male risk-taking is reframed as variance maximization, aka you enjoy those end of the bell curves. They're out there for a reason. If you can get out there, have at you.
Variance maximalization.
Variance maximization. Yeah.
Is that kind of like the you'll see just as many male CEOs as you will see male homelessness kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. That's why you don't see a whole lot of either in the female side, is because it's like the whatever you call it, the outliers.
Yeah. And then this one's for Arceus. The author argues reframing female caution or worrying as loss minimization or risk mitigation, if you will. You're familiar with the term because you're one of the crypto folks out there. Risk mitigation, baby. One of the things we talk about the most. Guess who's really good at that? It turns out it's women.
Women. Yep. It's women.
There you go. I would argue that's a positive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you need someone to be risk mitigating, and you also need someone to be risk like forward or risk taking, you know.
Exactly.
If you only have one without the other, then you have yin without the yang. You have an imbalanced scale system.
True. So the final tagline on this one is that it's about understanding that these are the strategies. Neither of them is superior. They're just optimized to do different things based on the evolutionary pressures that have come before. And you can argue there's upside to both of them for sure, which is that if you're going for variance maximization or allowing risk taking, you're allowing, as Alex Ramosi would say, you're going for the home run that scores 1,000 points. You're swinging for the fences. You understand that ceiling is way higher than you thought it was. And if you can even get close to touching it, you're going to be up massively. Additionally, risk mitigation or loss minimization. Pretty much saying like, look, we exist in some pretty darn good times. If you can just hit that 50% mark, guess what? Odds are you're going to be living like a king compared to people like even 100 or 50 years ago. So the fact that you're willing to kind of like really just hug that middle lane and just try to avoid losing too much, odds are you're going to end up pretty good too. That kind of stuff.
Good shout out to Hormozy.
Shout out to Hormozy. Prescription number 3 from the author here. Institutional designs. The author suggests that implicitly, more than prescriptively, you got to kind of read between the lines on this one, suggests that institutions should offer structured competition rather than suppressing it, recognize anxiety as a signal, not a disorder, and avoid one-size-fits-all behavioral expectations. Pretty much stops short of giving very specific policies, but does talk about the places where this could really use some effort is education systems, workplace leadership models, and mental health frameworks. So education systems, offering structured competition, then suppressing it, and avoiding doing the one-size-fits-all thing. Workshop leadership models. This goes to causing anxiety. Understand it's not a disorder. It's a signal that things are not going well inside of the company. Also, mental health framework on that one for sure. And mental health framework also really advocates the idea that the one-size-fits-all thing is not the way to do it. Largely because one of the reasons I'm an engineer instead of a doctor is because, well, people are different.
Turns out the size doesn't fit all.
Exactly. Like, I'm right at home with you in that storage closet. Like, how many of those parts are exactly the same by design?
Oh my god, bro! I am the frustrating part about what I'm doing is that all the parts that I'm sorting through are all labeled the same thing, but there's a very specific like engraving on them that will denominate whether it's number 1 or number 2, and they're all labeled as the same.
That's right. You can't put a left wheel strut on a right wheel. Doesn't work.
That is correct.
True.
So I'm going through all 40 parts.
There you go.
Sure.
So would you argue that those areas are kind of like the big ones, or would you identify any other areas that could really use some better design?
Can you list them off for me real quick? Because I've totally forgotten.
Education, workplace, and mental health. Any other big ones?
And this is regarding what again?
Creating a design that allows for differences and allows the different strategies to both explore their options and coexist together.
Education,
work, and mental health.
I mean, I don't know, man. I'm kind of on autopilot. I think that covers them pretty good. What else really is there that folks could focus on? I'm at a loss. What do you think? What do you think? I'll turn your question back on you.
I'm gonna go a little out here. I think that sports might be another one. I think
sports would be good for men.
Yeah, but also at the same time, understanding that we have different strategies, so we should have different sports leagues is probably a good thing.
Yeah, of course.
It allows people to compete with people on the same level and in the same mindset. Because otherwise, you get the weird stuff like the dudes trying to compete in the UFC against women, and it's like, what are we doing?
One of the things she talks about in the book is that like other countries don't really have like a whole lot of women's sports. It's not really a thing that a lot of women choose to or have the opportunity, like whether they're choosing to or having the opportunity to. The result is the same. Is that most other places other than like America don't really have women's sports. It's not really a big thing. It's only here in America where it's like, oh no, you're going to have funding for men. You're going to have funding for women in like the college and the other such places where in other countries where it's like you have to sacrifice your own value as opposed to like government sponsoring or government programs bringing this to life. It's like doesn't really exist in other spots. So that's why I say when like the sports things comes up, it's like, oh, that's a masculine thing because it's like sports is the competition. It's the masculine like small time war and all that. That was my thought anyways.
One interesting thing to me is that every once in a while we do kind of get these flashpoint moments where we kind of have these like sporting events where they do just lean fully into like the battle of the sexes thing. Like long ago there was a tennis match between, I think it was like, I can't remember if it was Serena Williams or
Serena Williams and some high schoolers. Yeah. And then they smoked her.
Yeah. And then also recently we had another one as well, where there was like a very low ranking male pro player against a very high ranking female pro player. And they even drew custom lines on the court so that the female the female player had a smaller court, so it was harder for the male to hit it in, and she also had less ground to cover, and then gave the dude a bigger court, so easier to get it in and more ground to cover. Guess what the outcome still was?
Bro, I thought you were gonna talk about how they had like the world's 6 strongest women go up against.
That was also a viral video recently. Is they had
the viral video, the world's strongest women go against a bunch of random like little people. I don't want to call them.
I think they called it like the midgets versus the giantesses or something.
Yeah, the midgets versus the giants, or it was the dwarves versus the giant. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a whole bunch of little men, you know, like little fellas versus like the world's 6 like strongest women or something, and they just fucking smoked them. They just absolutely decimated them. And it's kind of like, you know, it's not fair because, you know, they're not equal. You don't have like a short person has way less leverage on like a long set of arms, you know. Like I can do, as a 6 foot tall person, I cannot, if I have the same muscle mass, a 5 foot tall person can do way more pull-ups than I can, because they're just like, they have so much more power over the weight of their entire, you know, personage and arm span. So it's like, it wasn't a really fair thing, but it was just super funny to watch like 5 dude midgets versus a bunch of like, you know, super tall strong women folk doing the competition things.
The reason I bring this up is that I think that instinctively, like, people know these kind of things, even though like a lot of society is really trying to repress it as much as possible and try to tell you that no, your instincts are wrong, everyone's exactly the same, stop believing it. But then we still just like keep trying to like test it every once in a while, just be like, and then it's always usually that's why we have these sporting events that pop up every once in a while. It's those moments of like, it's always framed as kind of like a haha or viral moment, or like, oh, interesting thought experiment, even though it doesn't mean anything. It's like, there's a reason that we're still doing it and tuning into it. So,
I wonder how this is gonna turn out, you know. It's
different models, different strategies. Alrighty, number 4, fourth and final prescription from the author here: cooperation without moralization. A key decision in the gender of the sexes, if you will, is that conflict is escalating because the differences are being moralized and intent is assumed where adaptation is operating. So too much saying that it's trying to slap the labels on it, say good and bad over the differences, and saying that the intent is always assumed, never asking, what do you mean by that? What are you going for? Kind of just assuming the worst.
And like the default for most of like the cultural stuff is masculinity bad, man evil, you know, man, you know, dominate, man war, man crush, man kill, whatever.
I would even argue a lot of it too is femininity bad, like motherhood bad.
Oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of things that they're obviously, you know, I'm going to see the one that I see because it relates to me. But yeah, there's a ton of things that are just focusing on like the worst parts of both masculinity and femininity, and it's just like, it's driving people to be more at odds with each other as opposed to collaborative. And I think that's like, if you can find people that are interested in being collaborative, or people that are interested in, you know, opening up dialogue, or that are thinking about like building a better world or whatever, as opposed to just like complaining on like, oh man, I can't believe like, you know, women being repressed this way, men being, you know, fucking killed that way, whatever, the blah 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 blah. The people that focus on the negative versus the people that focus on the positive, the more that you can surround yourself with people that are focused on the positive, the better off you'll be. I'm sorry, did you have a thought in there?
I got a couple. So one of the interesting points for me was going back to the description of female relationships. One of the things the author pointed out is that one thing that can really cause deterioration inside of female relationships is if one person starts like doing very well and is very open about it. It's either it's like jealousy or the vulnerability thing, but that's one of the things that deteriorates the relationship. But I think that one of the ways where I've seen female relationships work really well, again, keep in mind I'm an outsider looking in on this one, but if it's everyone doing well at the same time, it elevates everybody. And in fact, I would argue it even strengthens the relationships that they have. Because it's the idea of like, you're on the championship team. You don't want to break up the team. It's a good team. It's a good locker room. What are you doing?
Yes. I say communism kind of in jest because it's funny. But like
You're not entirely wrong, though.
the communal nature of femininity is way more powerful than like the celebrating individual achievement. Like when the team is winning versus there's one girl that's doing really well, then everybody feels better. Everyone succeeds. Everyone, whatever the hell. Like in the masculine frame, if there's one dude that's fucking crushing it, then like the dudes will be like, yeah, bro, you're fucking crushing it. Hell yeah, you know, it's a totally different vibe than in the.
It's like the dude's
female
basketball
world.
team. One of the guys can dunk. What does everybody
Yeah.
want to see? They want to see their homie dunking all the time.
Yeah, it's like give him the ball so he can fucking dunk. You know, it's not like how do we all feel good as a team, as a community with like Laura or Sarah is able to dunk, pass Sarah the ball or pass Laura the ball. It's like, no, how can we get I can't even think of a girl's name. Victoria. How can we get Victoria an opportunity to score? How can we get Erica, you know, playing in here too? It's like, how can we incorporate the other people that aren't like in the excellent zone? It's very communal. It's very focused on the relationships versus like the actual like activity itself, you know.
Yeah, the reason I brought this one up,
Which is
that I
good.
think it goes, agreed. The reason I brought this one up is I think it goes to the intent. It's
Yeah.
I think if you have specifically for like the positive female relationships, I think the intent is clear. It's like we all want to do well. We all want to be friends. So let's just work and do it. And I think that's where it goes well. And when the
Yeah.
intent is not clear, I think that's when the individuals become threatened by the other people's success, that kind of stuff. That's
Yeah.
how this one kind of made sense in my brain, trying to use the other stuff the author has been putting in this book.
Mhm.
And then I think as far as the moralization and then assuming the worst, I think that has been, I can't remember if the author explicitly states this or if I'm just trying to connect the pieces, but I think that it's coming from both sides of the strategies, which is that the men are feeling demoralized, and as a result, they are either disenfranchised or very frustrated, which leads to the masculine like rage or anger emotion.
Oh
And then
yeah,
women are on high alert for everything, and they think that the guys are coming for them all the time, and that leads them to do a lot of their strategies, which is the covert tactics, the exclusion, and then aggression in the forms that they do it, which is through really a lot of reputational attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as a result, it's a
ahead.
it's a system that feeds into itself more and more, because from the masculine side, you're getting more and more disenfranchised, so it makes you more and more upset. And then as the woman, you see the men being upset, which makes you want to push them out even more as well. And it's just this cycle that keeps just spiraling out of control.
I think it's a flywheel, bro.
Exactly, pretty much. So I think that the author's prescription here of saying like, don't assume intent, just understand that people are adapting in their certain circumstances and working with what they got, and try to like give a little positive light. I think that that's really the way to kind of unspool that flywheel or pull all the tension out of it. Because if you do that, you're going to start bringing them back into the fold, so they're going to be less frustrated about things. And then additionally, you're going to see the men doing better and probably being happier and not being as upset, which should hopefully stave off the anxiety mechanisms or the alert mechanisms, if you will. And that, I think that's what this prescription is really getting at here. That's what I got out of it.
I think that the important thing is to like just don't try and look into the intent of other people. Just try and focus on like what are the results that you can achieve. And what are the things that affect you? You know, like it doesn't at the end of the day, another person's intent doesn't matter insofar as it doesn't affect you. And how do you allow things to affect you? You give them, like, you get to determine as the individual how much someone else's compliment or how much someone else's like negative words get to affect you. If you don't care about someone's compliment, then congratulations, it doesn't mean a thing to you. If you don't care about someone else's like their criticisms, then like, you know, fucking water off a duck's back. And same thing on the other side. It's like if you care a whole lot about other people's criticisms, or if you care a whole lot about other people's compliments, like you as the individual are permitting that to have an effect over you. So what do you do when you're going about into the world? Do you give other people power? Do you choose do you choose to have their stuff be nothing as to you? You know, step one, don't presume what other people are doing inside their heads, like pay attention to the results, and 2, don't give them power over you unless that power that you're giving them like helps you get what you want as well, sort of thing.
Makes sense.
That's
Yeah.
my little spin on it.
True. All right, we got a couple final points from the author here.
Yeah.
The author argues cooperation will improve when each sex understands their default incentives, and then also expectations are aligned with biological realities. So,
Yeah. Yes.
understanding the other players on your team or the other people in society, aka men and women, if you can understand the incentives, I think this is where the author is really arguing for apply front brain, stop relying on back brain. Understand back brain is going to be hurting you a little bit, but you can overcome it with that logical center. It's what you're made for. You can use the logic. So as a result of that, if you understand what each other's going for, and then you also accept the biological realities, it means that your expectations are now in alignment. You're not expecting other people to do things that they're not good at, and you're also not trying to believe things that you are not. It sounds easy.
Calibrated. Be super calibrated.
That one sounds easy, but I think that's probably the biggest hurdle to get over. Is accepting the biological realities, because all of the programming over the last like 30-40 years has very much been like, men and women are exactly the same. There's no difference. All that kind of
You're talking about like from the outside world, not like from our own perspectives of like we've been consuming this stuff for a long time.
Correct. Sorry. Yeah. This is me looking out at large, not me and Will thinking about what we believe and what we know. I think that based on everything that I'm seeing, this is probably going to be one of the big hurdles. Is because people have for so long, especially since the latest rise of feminism, all the stuff like we are exactly the same as men. It's like you're kind of missing the whole point that we're not, and that's the beautiful thing. Yeah. And I think part of that is probably
that's a good quote right there. Somebody fucking clip that. 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big one to overcome. This is me extrapolating a little bit here, but a lot of the post-World War II mentality is kind of the battle of, is man perfectible or not? And I think that this falls right in line with that. So this is something that we've been going on for, 80 plus years at this point, pretty much trying to believe that people are perfectible. We can bridge the gap between men and women and get to the point where we're exactly the same. But I think the author is actually arguing the kind of the opposite, which is like, look, you're different. Even outside of all your moral frameworks and whatnot, outside of that, like, you're different. You got to understand it. Otherwise, this stuff's probably going to get worse.
You're different. You got to understand it. And here's why,
Exactly. Alrighty. The final assertion from the author, closing out the book. Quote, human societies functions best when they integrate evolved differences rather than pretending they don't exist at all.
Yep.
So,
harness the power. Don't ignore it. The fucking stream is going to rage whether you pay attention to it or not. So you can try fording across it. You can walk upstream and you can fight it the entire time. You can build a dam and turn it into a thing that makes you more powerful.
Yeah, during my research, this turned into a major point that was slightly contested, but I think it's a very important distinction. Yeah. Is that there was a group that argued that the author in this kind of statement is arguing a return to true tradition and kind of like more primitive ways of society. But the other side of this is saying that no, this is actually the opposite of that. This is saying that we're not going backwards, we're going forwards. Those societies existed out of the pressures that were innate and the structures at the time that kind of just formed on their own. The author is actually arguing, this group is arguing that the author is saying that it's building something new through logic and reason based on the strategies that exist. It's not saying return to old. It's saying understand we are at this point in time and we're trying to get to the next point in time.
Yep. And you still have these remnants of the past that are going to constantly be creating these little, like, go this way, go this way, go this way, like little incentive structures inside your brain. So understand that and master it, as opposed to just like pretend it doesn't exist, or even worse, like give it a predetermined morality if you do come upon it. It's like like, oh, if you have these thoughts, then you're wrong and you're going to hell, or like if you think this way, then you're broken and you better medicate or something like that, right? Like that's the antithesis of what the author is trying to say. The author is saying, like, hey, this is how things are, so like, or these are how things used to be. So take this information, add it to your toolbox, add it to your consideration, and do with it what you will, as opposed to just kind of like, oh, take the blue pill and go back to how you were. No problem, baby. Fuck it.
Yeah. And by the way, Arceus has a really good comment here. Pretty much capping off exactly what we were just talking about. Saying that we don't live in this world. We don't live in the world this biologically. Blah, blah, blah. We don't live in the world this biology was designed for. We recognize survival of the fittest. Maybe rather than bending the world to our past, it would be better to strive to fit more towards our circumstances. Yeah. I think that's exactly what the author's arguing at the end here as well. It's saying that,
right.
like, did we get to this point based on all the other things that happened? Yes. Does that mean that we're beholden to all that stuff forever? No. Does that mean that we can pretty reasonably figure out how to allow these dual strategies to work together to move ahead? I think the answer is largely yes, is what the author is arguing on this one.
Yeah. I think that's a good little pin in the bow.
Yeah. Alrighty. I got to hear a couple of questions here for you. So,
you like questions?
Book has been argued as being controversial. Good sir, what do you think people are saying is controversial about this?
Uncomfortable information. People always take uncomfortable information and call it controversial. It's like, hey, here's a spin that could change everything that you think, or that's like not necessarily flattering about the worldview that you currently have. That's controversial. So like people calling it controversial, it's like, oh wow, what a crazy thing. It's like when you're a fourth grader and you're learning fifth grade math, it's like, this new math stuff is controversial. I had never thought about it before. It totally, like, it's like, yeah, of course it's controversial. So, yeah. So what was your question again? Sorry.
What is controversial about this exactly?
What is controversial? Oh, and the fact that it's like,
why do you think people think it's controversial?
Oh, well, people think it's controversial because people are fucking whimsical and retarded, and they exist in the middle of the bell curve, which isn't, they can't be blamed that they're average, normal, mediocre people. Like, they're going to get upset about information that makes them feel a certain type of way. And this information will make them feel a certain type of way because it's like, oh, congratulations. Like, the world's more complicated and you're not perfect, so they're going to feel a certain type of way about it. That's my thoughts. That's what about you? What do you think?
I'll run through a few of the other possible options that came up for this one.
Okay.
Empirical disagreement. Do you think empirically, based on the studies, that there's anything to disagree about in there?
Oh, me?
Yeah. Do you think anything in the studies was particularly egregious or incorrect? Did it seem like that?
No. The studies, and that's another really great thing that I respect about this author is she went through the studies, and she described them in the book. It's like I got to be there doing the study with her as she's taking me on this journey through her findings. So it's like, no, I don't think the studies were done crazy, wrongly, or poorly. And who knows? She could be lying, but I would presume that this doctor's credentials are fucking where they're supposed to be.
I think I'm there with you. The studies and the train of logic was very sound. Didn't have any major disagreements with it. So the other option here, there's two more. Moral fear.
Moral fear.
Just you fear out of just some sorts of morality. I would argue this one might be a yes, because the author does actually just call out categorical errors, which is applying moral labels to things when she was like, no, you're going too far with this one. We're describing what is, not whether it's good or bad.
Yep.
So that one, I can see that one. And the last one here is ideological commitments.
Ideological commitments. Yeah, people are going to stick with what they already like if you spend your whole life thinking one thing and then someone introduces a little snippet of information that might be other thing, then it's like, of course you're not going to bite into it, especially if you're like you're reinforcing this entire time like one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, maybe other thing. It's like, no, one thing, right? It becomes identity. It becomes part of the cult, part of the identity.
The other answer I had for this one, I don't know if it's part of being controversial, but you could argue that the author has a very narrow answer to what is seemingly a infinitely open-ended question.
Oh, for sure.
You could argue the author's trying to solve all the problems in the world with a 9-hour book. And it's like, I don't think you're going to get there. Like, hear me out.
No, it's a start. It's a great start.
I understand that argument against, but at the same time, I think that the way the author gave the prescriptions and the analysis of the modern problems left it very open-ended as well. Basic structure, not trying to solve everything down to the last policy detail, but open structure and direction. So there you go. Personally, I think the answer to this one about why do people find the book controversial is it's more in line with ideological commitments or political camps, team camps, whatever you want to call it. The step that I go a little further is that this is actually a bit of a question for you as well, but I think that this type of thinking and this type of prescription works for a high trust society, but I think that the current state of being is much more towards a low trust state of society. And as a result, you're not incentivized to try to have these discussions and try to build this structure. It's kind of the idea that I think that people might be outraged by it is because they might have some incentives of their own. They might be benefiting in some way, and that this might be a threat to that kind of stuff. And it's low trust strategies.
I think that it's incredibly amusing. High trust societies and low trust societies are entirely the decision of the person who lives inside the society, and here's why. It's you can like look at a person that lives in Utah, where everyone's like Mormon and everyone's kind and everyone's super high trustworthy, and then you could look at a person who grows up in Las Vegas, fucking 4 hours down the road, and be like, oh, it's like you gotta look over your back, you gotta second guess everything that everyone's doing, right? Like you take a person in any small town sort of area and someone in some sort of big city sort of area, and there's that dichotomy there. I'm sorry, I'm getting away from what your original question was. What was your question, Z?
It was, is this book assuming high trust or low trust strategy? With your answer, I think you have a good point, which is that on an individual basis, can you choose to enact high trust strategies or low trust strategies? Yes, 100%. I think the point of disagreement with you on this one, though, is that in general, you as an individual can operate on the strategy of your choice. But at large, your individual choice does not affect the entire system as to whether it is en masse enacting high trust or low trust strategies.
Bingo.
And
Man, you said the words better than me.
The distinction that I'm trying to make here is that I think that this is a person trying to enact a high trust solution into what is becoming more of a low trust environment. And as a result, I think that the reason people call it controversial is because that's one of the strategies. That is a low trust strategy. It is just fire up the mob, deny, all that kind of stuff, because you're not incentivized to do this kind of stuff. The difference between those two things is that it really kind of comes down to the prisoner's dilemma. It's the idea that you and a buddy were robbing a bank and you got caught, but you're each in different holding cells, and the interrogator says, look, if you don't say anything and he doesn't say anything, we're only going to be able to get you guys with a lesser charge, and you're both going to spend 2 years in prison. If you snitch on him, or if he snitches on you, whoever snitches gets 0, and the other guy gets 5 years. But if you both snitch on each other, you both get 10 years.
Game theory.
Exactly. So I know. Sorry, Larry. I feel like
Larry.
He's taking psych damage right now talking about game theory.
Nah, Larry's too busy fucking making the world a better place to be paying any attention to little old us.
I trust society, man, right there. Love that guy.
Yep.
So
fucking love you, Larry.
The difference here is that look, If you are willing to trust and enact in a high trust structure, you're going to get lesser. If you're in low trust, it means that you're realistically pretty much trying to look out for yourself. And in total, if you look at the math on it, if two people spend 2 years in prison, that's 4 years of prison time.
Yep.
If one person rats out the other, that's 5 years of prison time. If both rat them out, that's 20 years prison time, as opposed to 4. So the game theory, again, it's like
everyone wins by being trustworthy.
Correct. But at the same time, the avenue to win by not being trustworthy does exist, and there is an incentive for it. So it requires individual decision making en masse, because you can make that decision yourself. Doesn't mean you're making it for the other guy. So there you go. To wrap it up, I think that's call me a bit pessimistic, but I think we're moving more towards everybody snitching on everybody instead of everybody doing the correct thing and keeping your mouth shut.
Yeah, I think that we live in a world where, and I'm gonna be bold here, Z, and I'm gonna say that everyone would snitch on everyone else because we're living in a world of scarcity, because of crazy inflation taking away our purchasing power, because people feel exacerbated. People don't feel like they can. I can buy a house and I'll be okay. I can work a job and I'll be all right. It's like, no, people are getting closer and closer to desperation. People are moving further and further down Maslow's hierarchy of needs, going away from like, oh, I'm solving the problems of, like art, to down to I'm solving the problems of like society, to like I'm solving the problems of my neighborhood, to solving the problems of like, oh, I'm solving my family's problems. I have to survive. Like people are going further and further down that, and people are feeling more and more desperation. People are feeling more and more unempowered, and so because of that, I like as an entire society progress down this level, of course everyone's gonna be more and more backstabbing, and of course everyone's gonna do the things that are necessary to keep themselves moving at the not necessarily the continuance of their neighbor or the continuance of the tribe or something. People are going to look out for numero uno. And I think that all of this is a result of living in a system with the money printer that goes burr, that dilutes your purchasing power over time. So it's like,
are you arguing there's a reason that gold got up to $5,600?
That's what that's where it all leads, baby. It's like, it's not the gold that's getting more valuable. It's your dollar that's losing. Your dollar is losing very fast. And so people are dumping it to get the thing that's better, that's gold. And so like, yeah, it'll go up, it'll go down. Like, people will overbuy the gold, and then people will oversell the dollar. And then people will be like, oh shit, the dollar's actually on fire sale right now because people dumped it too much to get the gold. So I'm scooping up those dollars while the time is right. Obviously everybody's going to make their emotional decisions, but like, removing out the emotions, removing out the crazy fluctuation, everything is progressing to the end shitification of the dollar, like, imagine you had a ruler, right? And your ruler has 12 inches on it, and somebody and you hold up your 12-inch ruler up to a brick that happens to be 12 inches long. And you're like, wow, this brick is 12 inches long. How about that? And then somebody comes along, and you're like, here's the new ruler. It's got 13 inches, and they hold it up to the same brick. And it's like, now this brick is 13 inches. You've still got the old ruler system though. We still use inches. So your 12 inches now doesn't get you what 12 inches used to. And it's because we've crunched down the metric. We've crunched down the denominating, the value measuring tool, right? So anyways, that's happening to everybody over a long period of time, and that causes everybody who thinks that like unit of the past equals unit of the future, that disparity right there gets translated into an emotional sense of scarcity and desperation, and like, oh yeah, I'll snitch out my neighbor because my power level is decreasing, because the world is not what I think it is, and so I'm getting the need to take more action and do more desperate things, when in reality, like, we all live in a world of relative abundance, you know, like, we're not starving, we've got AC, like, we're doing okay, you know.
Yeah, and I think you made a good argument there with the looking for numero uno thing. It's like, theoretically, should your goal be to look out for numero uno? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
but
always.
There's two different ways you can do that. You can look out for numero uno and only numero uno to get the most for yourself. You are incentivized to do that. Or there's the high trust variance, which is the way that you look out for number one, which is you, is that you're looking out for other people as well. And if you do that and they do the same, it means you're going to get farther than if each of you is just solely looking out for yourselves without thinking about the other folks. So,
yes.
There you go. Alrighty, tell you what, I got another question for you. This one we're probably a little better equipped to handle. Brother fellas, the book suggests modern institutions often suppress male status seeking rather than channel it productively. What do you think are some healthy, socially useful male competitions? What would they look like today? And what happens if society fails to provide legitimate outlets for it?
I think that, you know,
what does healthy competition look like?
Oh, healthy competition?
Yeah, for the guys. Channel that energy.
Who can build the valuable thing the fastest? Who can build it the best? You know, like, I'll take a page out of Richard Hart's book here, where he talks about, like, he thinks that young men should go build houses instead of, like, go to war or go do something. It's like, go make something valuable that other people like, and that's where your competition comes from. That's where your value chasing goes, is like production as opposed to production as opposed to like theft or retraction sort of thing. So
that
like,
makes sense.
Go and produce something that, like, of its own merit is the thing that other people want, and then you're essentially you're competing for value that other people have that they're willing to give you, as opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna compete for attention, and I can put on some fucking, you know, some tights, and I can move some balls around a piece of grass and do it better than you can. You know, I think that's an outlet as well, right? You can compete for attention, right? You can compete for normies' attention. You can compete for normies' money. You can compete for normies' time. Basically, it's just like, who gets the most of the middle of the bell curve value that people are throwing out there, right? If you do it on the sports ball, on the sports ball arena, then you're competing for attention, you're competing for eyeballs, you're competing against porn, you're competing against Netflix, you're competing against cat memes and stuff. It's like, oh, watch this guy go get sweaty and he's gonna beat up the other guy, right?
Makes sense. I got a couple answers for you.
What? Yeah. Let's hear what you have to say. Enough for me on my.
Obviously, the negative version of this is kind of the war thing, which is your goal is destruction of your enemy.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think that the inverse
There's
of that is that, I think the inverse of that is goal-oriented competition, which is that instead of looking to defeat your opponent, you're looking to achieve something, which is largely what you just described as well, which is instead of going to war, build the houses. See who builds the best houses and the fastest and the coolest ones.
Can I add on that real quick? Yeah, so the war is extraction. But in order for extraction to work, there has to be production in the first place. The other guy has to have made something. So like, it's like the Vikings paradox. If the Vikings just go and they conquer everything, well, now everything's been conquered. But what do the Vikings actually do? They don't do anything, right? They just go and they steal. They go and they plunder. It's the Vikings are the great analogy for like the overbearing government, the overtaxing government. It's like all that they do is take. They never produce. And so when you take too much, what's that chart that we've pulled up before, where it's like you have this perfect chart of like taxation, right? Where it's like you can overtax a population and you can undertax it.
The Laffer curve.
The Laffer curve, yes, but it's Laffer spelled funky, right? It's like L-A-E.
It's like A-U-G-H something.
Yeah. The Laffer curve, where it's like if you take too much from somebody, then it's like, oh, but they stop producing. Like the Vikings that go and they pillage every single year, eventually the peasants are going to be like, oh, we're not going to make anything because the Vikings are just going to come and take it all. you know. But if you're the Vikings and you only pillage once every 30 years, then it's like, oh, well, it's totally worth rebuilding this civilization after the Vikings come, right? So there's if you're looking for a thing to do over like a long period of time, extraction is way less profitable versus like production sort of thing. So that's the direction that I was going to go before I went off on my tangent.
Sense.
So
yeah. Here's the other kind of answer I got for you.
Yeah.
It's more team building, less individual reward. I think that a hybrid of the two is most optimal, but specifically I'm thinking like corporate culture, where you have an environment where people are kind of like peers or on the same team working for the same company, but the way that they get ahead is by ensuring that other people don't get ahead. So instead of competing for like one pot of money, it's kind of more having a goal or team alignment. I think an excellent example of this would be something like the military, which is that, are all those dudes hyper competitive? Yes, absolutely. But they're not aligned at beating each other. They're aligned at accomplishing the mission. And inside of business, if you could try to achieve something similar, which is that, do you have performance bonuses for individuals? Yes. Do you also have other performance bonuses for overall achievement of the team or the company? Yes. And then once those metrics are met, everyone shares in the reward in addition to their own individual reward. So what I'm trying to shoot for here is something like the idea that you are rewarded for your efforts, but you are also rewarded for efforts of the team. What this does is that team goal is first, but you're also incentivized not to just be a dead weight, so that people are benefiting at the expense of others.
I like it. I like that. That's a good it's a good healthy balance.
True. Look, I know this other one here, it's me trying to our buddy Nuclear Herbs has inspired me, and also it just looks like a lot of fun, but I'm trying to pick up beer league hockey.
What's up, Chuck?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that if we could have more structures like that for like sport for adults, especially in the US, I think that would be fantastic. And what it does is it gives you an outlet to compete and also be better yourself, build the team, all that stuff. But additionally, it might be a decent way to, help get the people off the couch and come build community around it. So even for the ladies and whatnot, if you can build kind of a cultural event around like the local teams and the local league, and you have like the town championship or something, and you make a party out of it, it's a way to incentivize people to actually get out there and compete. And it's also a way to incentivize people to get out there and build the relationships as well. So still got to go get the skates and all that, but I got the stick and the gloves and we're working on the puck handle now. I'm just saying, I think that adult rec leagues, fantastic thing. And the more that you can support it beyond just the people playing on the field, I think that also would be beneficial. Because it's driving the status game, because you're now competing in front of your peers, but you're also competing in general. And then additionally, the town is also rewarding excellence and building something to do outside of just stare at your phone and doom scroll all day.
This, ladies and gentlemen, this show was brought to you by Field of Dreams.
If you build it, they will come.
If you build it, they will come. This is what the Degen Roundtable has been building up to. So you guys get to see, like, from the creation of the DRT all the way up to now, it's all just been to get you guys all to go and make some make your own little hockey leagues all over the place. But like for real, that's the value, is you go out and you make it happen. You bring the dudes together, you collaborate, and you get the hockey league going, you get the foosball league going, Oh,
I love golf tournaments as well, because you have prizes for overall like competition, but you can also have fun mini games like longest drive, closest to the pin, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because it's incentivizing everybody to keep playing the entire time.
Yes. We want the people to keep playing the game, whatever the game is.
True.
Game's got to keep going.
Alrighty.
Oh man.
Real quick, I do have some chat shout-outs that have been piling up. So it's time for that. Alrighty. Up first, Mr. Moondog coming in here. He says, the X Prize is the best set of competitions publicly held available for small team participation on Earth, especially current longevity global health span prize with a $101 million prize. World-changing competitions. Love it.
Oh, shit. I like it. Love and
like.
like.
Another one here. He says military teaches both sniping and shotgun, correction and reward. Ideally, criticize in public, reward. Criticize in private, reward publicly. Start with sniping the correction, then escalate to shotgun, inverse for rewards. I like it. Makes sense. We also got Arceus coming in here. Had a good one. Toxic masculinity is like personality disorder. Just describes somebody who's an asshat.
Yeah.
And we got some of the boys showing up. Mr. Slide 180 says, just got off my 13 or 14-hour shift in the freezing ass cold with a beer. Good to see you, sir. And then another good buddy of ours, Mr. Moonpill, the Rational Optic, says, what's up, gentlemen? Good to see you, sir. Always a pleasure.
What is up, Moonpilled?
Yeah.
Man, lots of great fun.
True.
Good folks.
Then we also got Moondog with a good little one. He says, Po Buddy's nerfed with the upside down smiley.
Nerfed. Yeah. The enigmatic tattoo.
There you go.
Enigmatic. That's the wrong word. You guys know what I mean.
True. Alrighty. Tell you what. Any final thoughts on the book, Will?
Final thoughts on the book. I think it's great. I think that folks should read it. If you want to understand where you came from and where you might be going and what like leads you and drives you, and then moving past your own self, what leads and drives other people, right? So like, let's say you want to learn more about yourself. This book will help you out, and like you'll get some great background information, nothing else. Let's say you also want to learn what leads and drives other people. This book will help you even more on like what inspires the opposite sex and what are things that they consider consideration and drivers and all that stuff. So I think that it's a great book, very informative, very well written. It's not too long, it's not too short. It's very what is it, mama bear of the three like the porridge won't burn you.
Not too cold, it's just right.
Yeah, it's just right. I think this book is just right. It's fantastic. I had a great time reading it. It is certainly doable. I did the whole thing on 2x speed. I don't know, does the author read the book? Because I know that it was a female voice narrating it on Audible.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I've heard this voice as some of the other audiobooks we've done.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, perhaps it's just me
just building that parasocial connection with Audible.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it.
Tell you what,
you know, it was great. What did you think about it?
I like the book as well.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I was hoping that the book would be more mentality based as opposed to Battle of the Sexes stuff. But at the same time,
it wasn't really even Battle of the Sexes. It was more of like, this is just what people do. That's how I saw it, right?
I see that as well. But I think it definitely leans into each of the genders, leaning into their strategies and saying, look, it's not good or bad, it just is the way that it is. So the crypto boys catch a few strays along the way. Yes, we did. Is this book going to help you be a better crypto trader or investor? Probably not.
Maybe
it might help you build a society where crypto is no longer needed if we get that money supply thing under control.
I would say if you learn something about yourself as a result of reading this book, then it makes you a better crypto trader.
Fair enough. But I like the book. I like the book. I like the prescriptions. I think that this could be an example where people do the classic thing of letting perfect get in the way of progress, which is that the prescriptions the author gives are some pretty high level and sweeping prescriptions. Yeah. Realistically, are we going to be able to enact all of that all at once? The answer is no. That's just not how it works. You got to push the ball up the field 1 yard at a time.
Yep.
At the same time, though, a lot of the stuff I really do think is probably worthwhile pursuing. The answer of how to do it on the low level tactical situation, that's going to be a question that's got to get hammered out. It's not exactly answered in this book, but
I think
it's
the solution for that is just don't be a cunt. You know, easy.
Classic.
Just don't be a cunt. Hey,
there you go. Yeah. So I understand the pushback from people that are morally triggered by it or whatever, and then also people that are saying it's too pie in the sky. I get it, but at the same time, you got to go somewhere, and it kind of feels like we're going backwards right now. So at the least, I'd like it if we didn't go more backwards.
Yeah, and if you're not pissing people off, are you even fucking doing anything? So
you're doing
like,
or you're just being a cunt.
Well, there is that, right? You know, if you're doing something and nobody's getting angry about it, then you're probably not doing enough.
Yeah.
You know, until you get the normies angry at what you're doing, right? Like, man, you remember when we got our first hater in the Degen Roundtable? That was a good feeling because it's like, we've made it. You know, it's like it's not just my crypto bros and my mom telling me I've been doing a wonderful job. It's like, oh, we've actually finally pissed someone off, and it's like their opinion isn't worthy of anything because it's just some internet. But it's like it's a good metric.
That's
So.
true. I think I still remember I was on one of the Hex conferences doing the legal talk, and I put on
Yeah.
the suit and the tie for it, kind of trying to do the bit.
Yeah.
I even had the courtroom background thing. And then
Yeah.
I remember I hopped on Twitter, and they didn't like tag me or anything, but someone was like tagging the Hex conference. They're like, "Wow, this is getting boring. They got the stodgy suit and ties up here," and I was like,
Zenith never wearing his suit and tie." And it just goes to show, like, the haters don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, people are gonna hate if they feel like hating, they're gonna find something to bitch about, and it's just like
it was either that or I think I was on with RH Max, Crispy Man, and then myself. We were talking about Hex t-shirt calculations, and then someone tagged it, and they're like, "Wow, love to see Crispy and RH giving stuff, but this third guy kind of seems like a douche."
Oh yeah, bro, I love it.
The bathroom wall of the internet.
I think you've got more haters than I have in the Degen Roundtable zone. I think the only one that I ever got was the fake Richard Hart's brother, the Shane Hart.
Over
at NFL. Yeah. So that was it. And that was just because I banned him because he was talking about some shit that I didn't want to hear about in the DRT. But it's like, we love our haters. You guys are all, if you're out there watching, we appreciate you. And
so we appreciate you.
Yeah. One of two things is going to happen, right? One, you're either going to give us some constructive criticism, or two, you're going to entertain us. So it's like, there's no losing from all these.
That's true. I was very entertained by the fact that I hit both sides of the argument. I was too stodgy and too douchey. I'm like, all right, sure, man.
Yes, this man is he is all encompassing. I love how as you were saying that, I'm putting on my bathrobe over here because incidentally my work inside the inventory room is done for the night.
Excellent. All right, we'll tell you what. We are also about done with the stream here. So is it possible to rank this book on the 0 to 10,000 hour scale? It might not be, but if you had to put this anywhere near some of the other books we've read and covered, where would you put it? I have an idea.
I would say maybe 1,000 hours or two, something like that. It's not like difficult to read. It's not. This book could really fall anywhere. I think if you're going to get the maximum value out of it, though, you probably have to read it at about 1,000 hours.
Sounds
on your journey. About half a year, 6 months in on your journey. You could read it like right now and benefit from it, but I think you got to have a little bit of life experience. You got to have a little bit of salt under the sails, or whatever it is that the people say.
Makes sense.
There in the sailing world.
Not using the 0 to 10,000 hour scale, but I do agree with your placement. About 1,000 to 2,000 makes sense. I think that this book kind of fits nicely directly after how to make friends and influence people and the speed of trust. I think if you read this as like the third book in a little trilogy with that, I think that'd be a good combo.
I could totally see that.
The reason that I say that is like, I think How to Win Friends and Influence People, good foundational book. Speed of Trust, also good foundational book. I think this book, as a little like caveat at the end of it, to help understand the differences between guys and girls, is going to help you elevate those other two books even more. Mm-hmm. Because the whole point is that there's so many different ways to do those two books and all the things inside of them. This book might add a little bit of nuance to help you identify, do guys or girls respond better to these kinds of approaches, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A little more tailoring at the end of it, if you felt like they were maybe too general.
I think that's a good spot to put this book, is directly after those ones.
Fair enough.
It's very complimentary.
Yes, but most definitely well ahead of Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith.
Yeah, not a lot of stuff can take that one.
I don't know. You might get some ideas about rent-seeking behavior out of that one and apply it
That
to
one's
this
a
one, but
landmark. That one's definitely a
I might go
place
as
to be.
far as calling that book a monument to hubris.
Oh my goodness. I don't know where my dog's at. I wonder
True.
what she's doing.
Alrighty, tell you
Yeah.
what, sir. That is pretty much all we have here tonight. We covered
Yeah.
all of the chat shoutouts. Ooh, I think we actually had one more. Mr. Diamond Hay
Ooh.
Degenerates. He says W Washed Up Adult Athletes League. Agreed. As a former collegiate athlete myself, still find the need to scratch that itch. It's always fun when I do. So, true.
I love it.
Alrighty, good sir. What do you got going on in the near future, and where can the folks find you?
The folks can find me at will.pls.fyi. I've got a dog that I'm going to be scratching in the very near future, in the next 20 seconds. I will physically be in Dallas for the next 12 hours, and then after that, it is off to College Station, and then yeah, that's where I'm going to be for the pretty relatively near future. So that's where the folks can find me. As far as what is the next book that we're going to be reading for book club, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. I guess we're going to do How to Read a Book by whoever the fuck wrote that, but that was a recommendation from our very own Mr. Moonpilled Rational Optics. So Moonpill, if you happen to be in the chats right now, that's what we're covering, is How to Read a Book.
How to Read a Book, the classic guide to intelligent reading.
Yes, that's going to be the next one.
By Mortimer Adler and Charles Van Doren.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to be doing next on book club, and it's going to be a great time.
Excellent.
It's going to be awesome.
All right.
What about you, sir? Where can the folks find you, and what have you got going on in the near future?
Folks, you can find me over on X and Instagram at zenithdi. More importantly, you can find me and Will, the rest of the Degens, including our Roundtable, and all you who also make up the Roundtable. All of us together. You can get inside the Telegram by scanning the QR code directly over Mama Dog, or you can catch us here on the YouTube, where we're going to be streaming 3 times a week. Up next, we have our Sunday News Ship Flag Show, where we have news flagship show, where we're going to be covering everything going on with the crypto markets, even some crypto legislation possibly coming down the pike. And yes, probably talking about that ridiculous gold price as well, and the correction that we had today. So
yeah, what do you
Sunday,
think? Okay, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was just going to ask you, like, what's like, other than the gold stuff, is there anything that's been happening in the crypto world other than like massive price action?
Price go up, price go down?
Yeah, price go up, price go down.
I have to fact check it because Twitter has been entirely unreliable on this stuff. But allegedly, the Clarity Act, which is a crypto market structure bill, did get through the Senate Banking Committee, which means we have the final text of the bill. This is the version that will be going to the Senate and possibly to the president if they approve it. So this is the perfect point to jump in there, figure out what exactly is going on, what got in, what got out. Because if you remember, the big battle was between the crypto exchanges and the banks about if they can offer stablecoin yield. And then also some other stuff like privacy and tokenization. I assume tokenization made it in. Privacy, probably not as much. I don't think there's a whole lot of DeFi push on this one. But the stablecoin yield is a big one because the banks were worried if the exchanges start offering stablecoin yield, that would be competition for their monopoly on bonds effectively. So curious to see what happened in there. But yeah, gold price go up, gold price go down. Allegedly, Michael Saylor saying that the plan was to rug pull the BRICS by adopting Bitcoin and dumping gold. We'll see if that's true. And then we also have even some members of the government coming out and talking some good stuff about Bitcoin. Gosh, who was this? It was the Fed chair nominee, Kevin Warsh. He says, quote, if you're under 40, Bitcoin's your new gold.
Ah.
Yeah, there you go.
Kevin Warsh.
New stuff coming up. We even got a Tom Lee clip for you as well. But yes, that's the Sunday News Ship Show. After that, we are going to be Wednesday for Whiskey Wednesday, where we hang out with you, the community, and all you excellent people out there, including this guy who might even be available for the How to Read a Book episode on Book Club, which is the one directly after Whiskey Wednesday, which is going to be Friday. Like all of our streams, they are 8 p.m. Eastern time, and they go for about 2 hours. So if we can get Moondog on for that, that would be fantastic. Would love to have you, sir.
Do it, broski. I'll put the link. I will put the StreamYard link up in the Telegram, so that way you can join us whenever you like.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. With that being said, it's about time to do the thing. So Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of you for spending your valuable time with us here on the DGen Roundtable. As our agent Jay often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the DGen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, that's me. Go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to DGen responsibly.